Welcome to Beyond Belief. I'm so happy you're here, and I'm so happy for second chances. That's right, once again, I recorded a whole episode without audio. But first, let's play that title credit. Oh my gosh, guys, what a day I am having. I'm telling you, I'm going to need a producer soon at this point, the way things are going, because I tested my audio twice. You know, just a few weeks ago, I recorded a whole episode with no audio. Today, I tested it twice. And for some reason, the audio just stopped in the middle of it. And I looked, and it turns out the gain on the mic itself somehow switched off. So, if you see me looking to the left or to the right, I might just be checking to make sure we got volume going, guys. But I am so glad you're here today. We're going to jump in, as always, with our political moment. Now, this has been an extremely busy news cycle this week. Many protests breaking out across the country. While many protests against immigration and custom enforcement have been peaceful, others have led to clashes with protesters, throwing rocks and stones at police, who on some occasions had to resort to tear gas to disperse the crowds. As of this time, there have been curfews issued. Violent protests prompted officials to enforce curfews in Los Angeles and Spokane. Republican governors in Texas and Missouri mobilized their National Guard troops to be on the ready to help law enforcement manage demonstrations in those states. Now, activists are currently planning what they're calling No Kings events across the country on Saturday to coincide with President Trump's planned military parade in Washington, D.C. Those were already planned, however, now they're happening amid this week's rising tensions. Now, I want to go ahead and take a moment and say I send my thoughts and prayers to every individual involved here, whether you're on the side of the peaceful protest or you are or have family who are on the side of our police. Um, I just pray for peace to come. If you're, you know what, we're just gonna move on from there. In other breaking news, for the first time ever, a Boeing 787, that is Flight Air India 171, has crashed. This tragic event took place less than a minute after the plane took off from the international airport right there in India. At the time of this reporting, there has only been one reported survivor. What we'll not be doing on Beyond Belief is speculating. If you want speculations on why this flight and tragic event took such a tragic turn, mainstream media has you covered, Reddit has you covered. As for me and my podcast, we will wait for investigators to investigate what exactly took place here today, whether it was something safety related or otherwise. We'll know once they complete their investigation. As of right now, though, our hearts and prayers go out to each and every family, emergency personnel, any individual that's involved in this situation. And we just pray for you during this time as you walk through, again, this tragic situation. As mentioned at the top of this story, this is the first Boeing 787 to have ever crashed. The company just recently celebrated 1 billion passengers safely flown. At this time, Boeing stock has continued to fall, and that is as of 6/12/2025. And that's all for our political moment today, guys. Um, I know these aren't necessarily as uh, exciting stories. Unfortunately, this week, news wise, we just have a lot of um, tragic and less than ideal situations going on. So hopefully, you all can look into each situation on your own accord and kind of go from there. Uh, and again, just my thoughts and prayers go out to everyone in both stories. But now let's get to the title of this episode. Let's get to that bread and butter. Let's get to that main course, that steak dinner that I know you all are so excited for today. We are talking about the shoulders you lean on. Now, guys, I feel like I need to apologize. I really went in on not just some of my potential viewers, but myself in the original recording. But I just felt it so strongly. So let me apologize for something that never came to light, just because I understand that maybe one of the reasons the sound didn't come through is because I felt just such a pull to really hit this message hard, and unfortunately, due to that, it would have been too hard for you to stomach. And so I'm gonna start by saying I do apologize, but when we talk about the shoulders we lean on. Think about if you're in a tough situation, who's your person? Is it a friend? Is it family? I know for me, I can think of different seasons of my life and who that would be. In one season, it very much was a friend who I would turn to. Uh, excuse me, especially in college, I had some really great friends that were a shoulder I could lean on, especially in a tough time. But now I can look and reflect, and truly, it's my brother Corey. And this has all come because we've taken we've taken care of growing our brother relationship. We've continued to grow that into a place that we can actually lean on one another. If he's going through something, he can lean on me, and vice versa. It wasn't always this way. In fact, rather, I know I've mentioned it a time or two. We have a daily phone call right now, and that was birthed from a very heart to heart conversation where at one point we said, "Hey, I love you. You're my brother. We grew up with one another, but I don't know you. I don't know you, but I want to know you." And so what we did is we set aside as time after work each day where we have a phone call. And sometimes we can discuss all types of topics, all types of things. And other times it can kind of be an almost silent phone call. And that's okay. Because what we're doing is building that relationship with one another. And sometimes you just don't have something to say, but you're still showing that person that, hey, I still care about you. I still love you. And so what we have is, again, we've developed a really great brother to brother relationship that I am so happy and proud to have. But that's just the person I tend to lean on. Obviously, there's some other family that if I need a shoulder, that's who I personally will. But I want to ask you again, who is it you lean on? Or do you find that there actually isn't someone for you to lean on? Is there uh, anyone? And if you're covered, think of others you know. Is there someone you know that you can just kind of tell that, man, they just don't have someone they can turn to. It looks like they're kind of going through everything alone. Um, do you know someone like that? Because speaking from a time where I didn't have anyone to turn to, and that just self reflection wise was because I pushed people away, so there couldn't be someone to turn to. But it's easy to see. Like you might think you're hiding it well, but it's easy to see. And that's kind of gonna bring us to one of our first scriptures today. We're only gonna have two or three. We're in Ecclesiastes 4 and 10. For if they fall, one will lift up his fellow. But woe to him who is alone when he falls and has not another to lift him up. And what I love about this scripture is I think it really talks to us as an individual, but also as the church. We really are called to lift one another up, to speak life into one another, to be an encouragement. And that's also one of the great things about church is we think of church as especially if you're really religious, is that place you go to on Sunday for 45 minutes to, if you're at my church, quite a bit longer, and you learn maybe a couple things and then you go home and you go back to life. But at the same time, the church is actually more like a hospital. It is a home to the broken, to be healed, right? And in many ways, that's what lifting your fellow up can be. Is you're helping them heal. You're helping them shoulder the brunt and the roughness of life. And so, if that's what our purpose is, you have to ask: am I stepping into and owning that in a way that is true to Christ? Am I helping those I know who need a hand to be lifted up? Or am I ignoring them? Am I helping others in one way from a distance, but still avoiding them? Because there's multiple ways to help one another, and there's not necessarily one way that's better than the other, but there is a way that's detached. There is a way to where you can help someone, but you're not caring for someone. And see, it's that level of care and love that truly you can only get from Christ within you. That's what's helping lift them up. Otherwise, you're just giving them the potential to pick up and then fall right back down. And that's a tragedy. And it's selfish and it's prideful. And it's something, if you find with your self-reflection that that's something that you think really fits you, that's something you need to work on. That's something you need to work on, pray for, and possibly be delivered from. Because we're called to a higher calling. We can't just say, well, I donate to this charity and they do these really great things. That's not good enough. That means you took 5 seconds to maybe make a difference, as long as someone else on the other end is following through. Where is your follow through? Where is your obedience? I mean, I don't even know where that came from, but obedience is such a big deal in my life. Everything really comes right back to obedience. And if you can't do it on your own, if you have to always push it to others to accomplish the things we're called to do, you're disobedient. Plain and simple. You're disobedient. So I guess today is your correction point. Today is your correction point. So step out of it and walk into what God has for you. But that's not always what lifting one another up and shoulders to lean on can be about. Sometimes it is more personable. Sometimes it is you're in a place where you don't have someone to lean on, or you don't want to burden another, or there's just some things you can't tell some people, right? And even in your inner circle there's just some uh intimate details and struggles that you may have that you can't release to your inner circle. But I'm here to tell you today, the good news is we have a God who wants a personal relationship with you. And so if you have a personal relationship with God, then you have someone that you can always lean on. If we look at Isaiah, I'm sorry, that is incorrect. See, if we look at Deuteronomy 33 and 12 in the King James Version, we see, and of Benjamin he said, the beloved of the Lord shall dwell in safety by him, and the Lord shall cover him all of the day long, and he shall dwell between his shoulders. Now you're saying, Tyler, why are you bringing this scripture about a blessing to the tribe of Benjamin? What does this have to do with his shoulder? Well, it's in the verse first off. So I literally just said, and dwell between his shoulders. So if you didn't catch that, wake up. But secondly, yes, this was a blessing spoken over the tribe of Benjamin, but it is a blessing that you can call upon yourself as well because it speaks to the intimacy of God. You see, he provides a space to dwell between his shoulders so that he can provide safety. He provides you a covering in his shoulders. He's always there for you. You just have to lean on him. You see, if you don't know, you have a God that is more than able. You have a God that is your provider. You have a God who loves you and cares so deeply for you that it is almost indescribable. And so if you're going through those situations in life today, lean on him. Dwell between the shoulders of the Lord. Give your worries to him. It's what he wants. I think of how much of my life has been wasted with worries and my own thoughts and my own wrongdoings. I think of how much time has been wasted that I was so preoccupied and just leaning on the shoulder of the world, when in reality I could have leaned on my Father in heaven and have been comforted and healed and put together. I think of even though I knew him, I really did, but I walked away for some reason. There's never a good reason to walk away. You just let life take priority. And you can look back on situations and go, man, if I would have just leaned and dwelled between your shoulders, Lord. What a difference. What a difference it would have made. And so I'm asking you today, dwell on the Lord. Dwell with him. Don't walk into your own troubles. Don't lean on the shoulders of the world. Don't fall. And if you do fall, let it be into his arms. Because he's a good father. And he loves you. And he loves me. And the older I get, the more I dwell with him, just the greater insight, the more loved, the better overall everything is better. Even the bad days are less bad when you can dwell. When you can dwell. Guys, I want to thank you for watching today's episode. As always, it's been such a fun time. I'll be honest with you all. I didn't have a lot of notes to go off this time, so I hope everything um, was able to speak to you well. If you have any thoughts, comments, leave them down below. You can comment on Spotify. You can comment on YouTube. You can message me on Facebook. I would love to hear from you. Go ahead, if you can, leave us a like and subscribe. Share this podcast. We're trying to get this message out to everyone we can, especially if it spoke to you. If it spoke to you, it's going to speak to others. So I just want to say thank you again so much for watching. I can't wait to see you next time. Have a good one.